Picture this. Your body as a Tesla Roadster, sleek, powerful, engineered to perfection, cruising at 200 miles per hour toward your wildest dreams. Now imagine it stalling, blood sugar spiking, cholesterol clogging the pipes, belly fat dragging you down like a payload too heavy for liftoff. That's not just a health problem, it's a mission failure. I'm Dr. Musk, part tech maverick, part biohacker, and 100% obsessed with making the human machine run like a SpaceX rocket. I've spent my life building system scars that drive themselves, rockets that land upright, neural networks that think like humans. But the most critical system I've ever worked on, my own body. And today, I'm here to tell you how a single leafies, a leaf can, rewire your biology to fight diabetes / bad cholesterol and burn off that stubborn belly fat. This isn't about living longer, it's about living stronger, sharper, and ready to conquer the universe. Let's rewind. A few years back, I was neck deep in Neuralink, trying to merge human brains with AI. I was pulling 100-hour weeks, surviving on coffee and adrenaline, my brain firing on all cylinders, but my body screaming for a reboot. One day, I got a wake-up call. My blood sugar was creeping into prediabetes, territory fasting, glucose hitting 120 mg DL, way above the 100 I wanted. My LDL cholesterol, the bad stuff, was climbing past 130 mg DL, and my energy was tanking faster than a Falcon 9 with a faulty thruster. I could feel the brain fog creeping in, like static on a neural link. Doctors threw around terms like statins and metformin, but I didn't want a quick fix. Pills felt like duct taping a leak in a spaceship. I wanted to solve the problem, not patch it. That's when I started digging, not into code or rocket schematics, but into something far older, nature's playbook. I've always believed in first principles, breaking things down to their core truths. When you strip health to its essentials, it's a system. Your body is a machine, your brain a supercomputer, your metabolism, power grid. If you want to optimize it, you don't just throw drugs at it, you redesign the inputs. That's when I stumbled on the olive leaf. Sounds simple, right? Almost too simple. But this unassuming leaf is packed with a compound called oleuropein, a biochemical powerhouse that stabilizes blood sugar, cuts LDL cholesterol, and ramps up fat-burning enzymes. Studies in journals like Phytomedicine show it can drop fasting glucose by up to 15% and LDL by 10 to 20% in weeks. It's like uploading a software patch to your metabolism. I started drinking olive leaf teatwood cups a day, steeped for 10 minutes, and within a month, my glucose was back under 100, my LDL dropped to 110, and I was sleeping better than I had in years. My brain felt like it was running at 5G speeds again. But this isn't just about me. I'm not here to preach some health guru nonsense or sell you a magic bullet. I'm here because I believe humanity's future depends on us being at our best, physically, mentally, intergalactically. We're living in a world of exponential change. AI is rewriting industries, climate shifts are reshaping our planet, and we're on the cusp of becoming a multiplanetary species. If we're going to solve those problems, we need bodies that can keep up. Diabetes, heart disease, obesity, these aren't just personal struggles, they're civilization-level bottlenecks. The CDC says over 34 million Americans have diabetes, 94 million have high cholesterol, and 40% of adults are obese. That's not just a health crisis, it's a productivity crisis, a creativity crisis, a human potential crisis. If we're going to build cities on Mars or crack the code to artificial general intelligence, we can't be dragging around bodies that are crashing every afternoon. So why a leaf? Because nature is the original engineer. Think about it. Evolution has been running A/B tests for billions of years. Leaves like olive, peppermint, or moringa aren't accidents. They're optimized solutions debugged by millennia of trial and error. They're not just plants, they're biochemical code designed to interface with your body's systems. When I started experimenting with olive leaf, I didn't just stop at tea, I paired it with data. I used a continuous glucose monitora little device stuck to my arm that gave me real-time blood sugar readings. I tracked my heart rate variability with a smartwatch, measured my sleep cycles, even analyzed my gut microbiome with a home testing kit. The data was clear, my inflammation markers dropped, my insulin sensitivity improved, and my waistline shrank by 2 inches in 3 months. This wasn't voodoo. It was systems engineering applied to biology. Let's zoom out. Health isn't about chasing numbers on a lab report. It's about freedom to think clearly, to create relentlessly, to live without the constant drag of fatigue or disease. When I was fighting those blood sugar spikes, I wasn't just worried about my health. I was worried about my mission. Every hour I spent foggy or tired was an hour I wasn't pushing Neuralink forward, wasn't iterating on Starship, wasn't dreaming up the next big leap for humanity. That's what drives me. The idea that we can unlock our full potential by treating our bodies like the high-performance machines they are. And the crazy thing, you don't need $1 million lab or a PhD in biochemistry. You need a leaf, a little curiosity, and the guts to experiment. Here's the deal. I'm not saying olive leaf is a cure-all. I'm not saying you should ditch your doctor or throw out your meds. What I'm saying is that we've been overcomplicating health for too long. We've been sold on pills, surgeries, and fad diets when the answers are often simpler, older, and growing right under our noses. My approach is about stacking small, smart changes, drinking olive leaf tea, eating a handful of moringa, tracking your vitals with a $100 wearable and watching them compound into massive results. It's the same way I built Tesla. Start with a bold vision, break it down to first principles, and iterate like hell until you get it right. This is personal for me. When I was staring down those lab results, I saw more than numbers. I saw a choice: accept the slow decline of age and stress, or fight back with everything I've got. I chose to fight. I chose to treat my body like a SpaceX Project Relentless, data-driven, and a little bit crazy. And it worked. My glucose is steady, my cholesterol's in check, and I'm back to dreaming up ideas that scare even me. That's what I want for you, not just a healthier body, but a life where you're free to chase the impossible. Because if we can hack our biology with something as simple as a leaf, imagine what else we can do. The future isn't just out there, it's in us. So let's build it, one bold, brilliant step at a time. Let's talk about something radical. Nature is a code base, debugged over billions of years, with leaves as its most elegant algorithms. When I'm designing a Tesla or a Starship, I don't start from scratch. I build on first principles, stripping away the noise to find what works. Nature's been doing that since life crawled out of the primordial soup. And right now, in your kitchen or your backyard, there are leaves, yes, leaves that act like software patches for your body, tackling diabetes, bad cholesterol, and belly fat with precision that rivals any lab-made drug. I'm Dr. Musk, and today I'm diving into the biochemical genius of these leaves, not as some crunchy health fad, but as a systems engineer's dream: simple, scalable, and stupidly effective. Take the olive leaf. It's not just a garnish for your martini, it's a biochemical powerhouse. Its star player is oleuropein, a compound that sounds like it belongs in a sci-fi novel, but works like a master key for your metabolism. Research in the journal Nutritional Biochemistry shows oleuropein can drop fasting blood sugar by up to 15% in pre-diabetic patients and slash LDL cholesterol by 12%, while boosting HDL, the good stuff, by 10%. It does this by tweaking your insulin sensitivity. Think of it as fine-tuning your body's fuel injector, so sugar doesn't clog up as fat. Even better, it activates enzymes like AMPK, which revs up your mitochondria, those tiny power plants in your cells, to burn fat even when you're just chilling on the couch. I started drinking olive leaf tea cups a day, steeped at 175 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes, and my waistline dropped an inch in a month. That's not a miracle, that's engineering. But olive leaf is just the headliner. There's a whole lineup of leaves that are like open source code for your health. Peppermint, for instance, isn't just for fresh breath. It's got menthol and flavonoids that crank up your metabolic rate, helping you burn an extra 50 to 100 calories a day, even at rest. Study in metabolism, clinical and experimental, found peppermint extract reduced post-meal glucose spikes by 20% in healthy adults. It's like a throttle for your digestion, cutting bloating and gas while keeping your blood sugar from roller coastering. Then there's moringa, a leaf, so packed with plant protein and fiber, it's like a nutritional starship. Just 1 ounce of dried moringa leaves has 8 grams of protein and 5 grams of fiber, keeping you full for hours and stabilizing blood sugar like a pro. It's no wonder cultures in Africa and Asia have been using it for centuries to fight fatigue and hunger. Don't sleep on holy basil either. This isn't your pizza topping basil. It's a sacred herb with adaptogens that balance cortisol, the stress hormone that piles fat on your belly like a bad software bug. A 2017 trial in evidence-based complementary and alternative medicine showed holy basil lowered fasting glucose by 11% and reduced inflammation markers like C-reactive protein by 25%. It's like a stress shield for your body, calming the chaos that drives insulin resistance and heart strain. And let's not forget rosemary, a leaf that smells like a forest, but works like a metabolic turbocharger. Its carnosic acid boosts mitochondrial activity, helping your cells burn fat. Faster, think of it as overclocking your body's engine. A study in Nutrients found rosemary extract cut LDL cholesterol by 15% in just 8 weeks, while also improving blood flow to keep your arteries as clear as a freshly printed 3D printed rocket part. Why do these leaves work? Because they're not random. Evolution spent billions of years optimizing them to interact with our biology. When I was building Neuralink, I learned that the best systems don't fight nature, they amplify it. These leaves are packed with polyphenols, flavonoids, and antioxidants compounds that act like debuggers, fixing errors in your metabolic code. Inflammation, they shut it down. Blood sugar spikes, they smooth them out, cholesterol buildup, they scrub your arteries clean. And the best part, you don't need a PhD or $1 million to use them. A handful of moringa costs less than a latte. A cup of olive leaf tea is cheaper than your Netflix subscription. This is health as a scalable solution, accessible to anyone with a kettle in a grocery store. But here's where I get nerdy. I don't just trust tradition, I want data. When I started using these leaves, I paired them with tech to track their impact. I slapped on a continuous glucose monitor, little patch that reads your blood sugar every 5 minutes. I synced it to an app that graphed my levels like a stock chart. After a week of olive leaf tea, my glucose spikes, flattened post-meal peaks, dropped from 160 mg DL to 130. I used a smart scale to measure body fat, watching it tick down from 22 to 19% in 2 months. I even hacked my gut microbiome with a home testing kit, finding that peppermint and holy basil boosted my beneficial bacteria by 30%. This isn't guesswork, it's systems biology, where nature's code meets silicon precision. Let's be real. The modern world is a metabolic minefield. Processed foods, stress, and screens are like malware gumming up your system. The average American eats 150 pounds of sugar a year, enough to fill a Tesla trunk. No wonder 1 in 3 adults is pre-diabetic. But here's the kicker. You don't need a pharmaceutical overhaul to fight back. These leaves are like open source software free, adaptable, and battle tested. They're not just about fixing diabetes or cholesterol, they're about reclaiming control. When I'm designing a rocket, I don't accept good enough. I push for perfection. Your health deserves the same rigor. Why settle for a body that's limping along when you can tune it to run like a Hyperloop? This isn't about going back to some pre-industrial utopia. I'm not telling you to live in a forest and chew leaves all day. I'm saying we can take the best of naturettes, billions of years of R, and combine it with the best of tech to build bodies that don't just survive but dominate. Think of it like Tesla's over-the-air updates, a cup of rosemary tea here, a sprinkle of moringa there, and suddenly your metabolism's running the latest software. My mission is to make health as intuitive as autopilot, as accessible as a smartphone, and as powerful as a Falcon Heavy launch. Because if we're going to solve the big problems, AI, climate, space, we need bodies and minds that are ready for the challenge. The code is already written in every leaf, waiting for you to run it. Let me take you back to a moment when I thought I was invincible. Picture me, Dr. Musk, in the thick of SpaceX's Falcon Heavy days, burning the midnight oil, coding, debugging, and yelling at rocket parts that wouldn't behave. I was running on pure grit, 120-hour weeks, 4 hours of sleep if I was lucky, and enough coffee to power a small city. I was pushing the boundaries of what's possible, but my body, it was sending me error codes. My cholesterol was creeping up LDL, hitting 100 40 mg DL, way past the safe zone of 100. My blood sugar was swinging like a pendulum with fasting levels at 125 milligrams DL, teetering on the edge of prediabetes. Worst of all, my sleep was erect, fragmented, shallow, leaving me foggy and irritable. I was building machines to conquer space, but my own hardware was crashing. That's when I learned a hard truth. You can't outsmart biology. You have to work with it. This wasn't just a health scare. It was a systems failure. So I'm used to solving problems, whether it's landing a rocket booster or wiring a brain to AI, but this was different. My body wasn't a Tesla. I could debug with a software patch or a Neuralink chip I could tweak. I went to the doctors expecting a quick fix. They handed me a list of meds, statins for cholesterol, metformin for blood sugar, maybe some sleeping pills to knock me out, but I didn't want a Band-Aid. I wanted a root cause solution. I wanted to re-engineer my biology, not drug it into submission. So I did what I always do. I went back to first principles. I asked, what's the simplest, most elegant way to fix the system? That's when I turned to Nachonaut as a hippie, but as an engineer looking for proven code. I started with olive leaf tea. It wasn't sexy, no shiny packaging, no $200 price tag, just dried leaves, steeped in hot water, 180 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes. I paired it with moringa powder in my morning smoothie, 2 tablespoons, blended with kale and almond milk. I sprinkled rosemary on my dinners, not just for flavor, but for its carnosic acid, which studies in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry show boosts fat metabolism by 15%. I even tried holy basil tea before bed, which a 2018 study in phytotherapy research linked to a 20% drop in cortisol, the stress hormone that was turning my midsection into a spare tire. But I didn't stop at leaves. I brought in tech to close the loop. I slapped on a continuous glucose monitor, a tiny sensor on my arm that tracked my blood sugar in real time, syncing to an app that graphed every spike and dip. I wore a smartwatch to measure my heart rate variability and sleep cycles, aiming for at least 90 minutes of deep sleep per night. I even sent a stool sample to a lab to analyze my gut microbiome, which showed a 25% increase in beneficial bacteria after a month of moringa and peppermint. The results? Game-changing. In 6 weeks, my fasting glucose dropped to 95 milligrams DL, my LDL cholesterol fell to 110, and my HDL, the good stuff, climbed to 55. My body fat percentage went from 23 to 19%, and I lost 3 inches off my waist. But the real win was my brain. The fog lifted. I was back to coding at 3 a.m., sketching out Starship designs and dreaming up ways to make Neuralink a reality. My sleep improved, hitting 7 hours a night with 25% in REM, according to my tracker. I wasn't just healthier, I was sharper, faster, ready to tackle problems that would have crushed me before. This wasn't about vanity or living to 100. It was about reclaiming the energy to build a future. Here's what I learned. Your body is a feedback system, and you've got to listen to it. When I was ignoring those warning signs, high cholesterol, blood sugar swings, sleepless nights, I was like a pilot flying blind in a storm. The leaves were my instruments giving me the data to navigate. Olive leaf stabilized my glucose like a autopilot correcting course. Moringa kept my hunger in check, so I wasn't crashing into junk food at 2 p.m. Rosemary and holy basil were like debuggers, rooting out inflammation and stress that were gumming up my system. But the tech was just as crucial. My glucose monitor was like a mission control dashboard, showing me exactly how my body responded to every meal, every cup of tea. My smartwatch was my co-pilot, nudging me to prioritize sleep over one more email. This wasn't about faith in nature or blind trust in gadgets. It was about building a closed-loop system where every input was measured, every output optimized. What's the bigger picture? We're at a turning point. The average American is carrying 30 pounds of excess weight, with 1 in 3 teetering on diabetes and 1 in 4 at risk for heart disease. That's not just a personal problem, it's a civilization-level bug. If we're going to solve climate change, colonize Mars, or merge with AI, we need bodies that can keep up. My breakdown taught me that health isn't a side quest, it's the main mission. You can't innovate if you're running on empty. You can't dream big if your brain's stuck in low power mode. That's why I'm obsessed with this approach. It's not about quick fixes or chasing symptoms. It's about rebuilding your system from the ground up, using nature's tools and tech's precision to make you unstoppable. This is personal, but it's also universal. I've been where you are pushing hard, ignoring the warning lights, thinking I could outrun biology, but I couldn't, and neither can you. The good news? You don't have to. You can hack your body with something as simple as a leaf and a sensor. You can turn a breakdown to a breakthrough. When I saw my numbers turn around, I didn't just feel better, I felt like I could take on the universe again. That's what I want for you, a body that's not just healthy, but a launch pad for your biggest ideas. Because the only thing standing between you and the impossible is a system that's ready to fly. Your brain is the most powerful supercomputer in the known universe, and your heart is the engine that keeps it running. If either one falters, your ability to innovate, create, or even dream collapses like a poorly coded algorithm. I'm Dr. Musk, and I've spent my life pushing the limits of what's possible, building electric cars, colonizing space, wiring brains to AI. But none of that matters if your core systems, your brain and heart, are offline. In this age of relentless technological change, where AI is rewriting reality and we're racing toward a multiplanetary future, your biology needs to be as cutting edge as your ideas. That's why I'm obsessed with fusing nature's oldest tools leaves, like olive, sage, and rosemary, with the latest tech to keep your brain sharp and your heart strong. This isn't just about health, it's about building a body that can keep up with the 21st century. Let's start with the brain. It's not just a lump of neurons, it's your command center, processing 11 million bits of information per second, most of it subconsciously. But when inflammation creeps in, driven by stress, bad diet, or lack of sleep, it's like running your CPU at 100% with no cooling. Chronic inflammation is a silent killer, linked to everything from brain fog to Alzheimer's. A 2020 study in neurology showed that high levels of C-reactive protein, an inflammation marker, increased dementia risk by 30%. Now, add in blood sugar spike assay from that 50 grams of sugar in your morning latte, and you're frying your neural circuits. High glucose levels damage blood vessels in the brain, cutting oxygen and slowing your processing speed. I felt this firsthand during the early days of Tesla, when stress and sugar crashes left me struggling to focus on battery specs. My solution? Nature's anti-inflammatory arsenal. Sage is my go-to. Its rosmarinic acid, studied in pharmacological research, reduces inflammation markers by 20% and boosts insulin sensitivity, keeping glucose from spiking past 140 mg DL after meals. I brew sage teaspoons of dried leaves, steeped for 8 minutes at 170 degrees Fahrenheit, and drink it twice a day. It's like a firewall for my brain, keeping inflammation at bay so I can think clearly. Then there's holy basil, which doesn't just calm your nerves, it rewires them. A 2019 study in Journal of Ethnopharmacology found it lowered cortisol by 18%, reducing the stress that clouds your cognition. I sip holy basil tea before high-stakes meetings, and it's like hitting the reset button on my mental OS. These leaves aren't just herbs, they're neuroprotectors, optimized by nature to keep your brain firing like a Neuralink chip. Now, let's talk about the heart, your body's power plant. Every beat pumps 2 ounces of blood, 5 quarts a minute, keeping your systems online. But when LDL cholesterol builds up, say, hitting 150 milligram DL from too many burgers, your arteries clog, like a traffic jam on the 405. Heart disease is still the #1 killer in the US, taking out 700,000 people a year, according to the CDC. Olive leaf is my secret weapon here. Its oleuropein, backed by a 2021 study in lipids and health and disease, cuts LDL by 15% and boosts HDL by 12%, clearing your arteries like a high-speed bypass. I pair it with rosemary, which improves blood flow by 10% per the Journal of Physiology. Sprinkle a teaspoon of fresh rosemary on your dinner, and you're not just seasoning, you're engineering a stronger cardiovascular system. But here's where I go full Musk. I don't just rely on leaves. I stack them with technology to create a feedback loop that's tighter than a Starship launch sequence. I use a non-invasive glucose monitora patch the size of a quarter that beams real-time blood sugar data to my phone. When I see a spike coming, I sip peppermint tea, which a diabetes care study showed can reduce post-meal glucose by 25%. I also wear a smartwatch that tracks my heart rate variability, aiming for a score above 50 to ensure my nervous system is balanced. Sleep is non-negotiable, 7 hours minimum with at least 20% in REM, tracked by a sleep ring that pings me if I'm skimping. And I'm experimenting with AI-driven health apps that analyze my vitals and suggest tweaks, like adding moringa to my smoothie when my inflammation markers creep up. This isn't sci-fi. It's here now, and it's cheaper than a new iPhone. Why does this matter? Because we're in a cognitive arms race. The world's moving at warp speed AI, quantum computing, space travel, and if your brain and heart can't keep up, you're sidelined. The average American sleeps 6 hours a night, 2 hours less than optimal, and 40% have metabolic syndrome, a mix of high blood sugar, cholesterol, and belly fat. That's not just a health stat, it's a creativity killer. When I was battling brain fog at Tesla, I couldn't iterate fast enough on battery designs. Now, with my Leaf Tech stack, I'm back to solving problems at 2 a.m. Your brain and heart aren't just organs. They're your edge in a world where ideas are currency. This approach is about precision, not guesswork. Leaves like olive and sage are backed by decades of research, hundreds of studies, showing they reduce inflammation, stabilize glucose, and protect arteries. Tech like wearables and AI takes it to the next level, giving you real-time data to optimize your inputs. It's like tuning a Tesla for maximum range. Every leaf, every hour of sleep, every data point is a variable you can tweak. And the stakes couldn't be higher. If we're going to solve the big problems, climate, AI ethics, interplanetary travel, we need brains that think like supercomputers and hearts that beat like rocket engines. Anything less is a betrayal of our potential. So here's my challenge. Treat your body like a mission-critical system. Brew that sage tea. Wear that glucose monitor. Track your sleep like it's a launch countdown. These aren't small changes, they're exponential ones. When I started this, I wasn't just saving my health. I was saving my ability to dream, to build, to push humanity forward. You have that same power. Your brain and heart are the ultimate technology, and with the right tools nature's leaves, tech's precision, you can make them unstoppable. The future doesn't wait for slow systems. Upgrade yours, and let's build something extraordinary. We're standing on the edge of a new era. AI is rewriting our world. Space beckons as humanity's next frontier, and the problems we face are bigger than ever. But none of that matters if you're grounded by a body that can't keep up. I'm Dr. Musk, a guy who spent decades building machines to push humanity forward, electric cars, reusable rockets, brain-computer interfaces. Yet, the most important machine I've ever worked on is the one you're living in right now, your body. It's time to stop treating it like a rental car and start treating it like a SpaceX Starship Precision, engineered, relentlessly optimized, and ready to launch you toward your wildest ambitions. My secret? A blend of nature's genius, like the olive leaf, and the ruthless precision of technology. This isn't just about beating diabetes, cholesterol, or belly fat. It's about hacking your biology to conquer the future. Let's talk about the stakes. We're not just fighting for a smaller waistline or a better lab report. We're fighting for the energy to create, the clarity to solve problems, the resilience to thrive in a world moving at light speed. The CDC says 1 in 3 Americans is pre-diabetic, 1 in 4 has high cholesterol, and 40% are obese. That's not just a health crisis. It's a human potential crisis. If your blood sugar is spiking to 180 mg DL after lunch, you're not dreaming up the next Tesla. If your arteries are clogging with LDL at 150 mg DL, you're not coding AI that outsmarts the competition. And if you're dragging around 30 extra pounds, you're not sprinting toward a multiplanetary future. Health isn't a side project, it's the foundation for everything else. My weapon of choice? The olive leaf. It's not flashy, but it's a biochemical beast. Its compound oleuropein is like a master switch for your metabolism. Studies in phytotherapy research show it can drop fasting glucose by 15% and LDL cholesterol by 12%, while boosting HDL by 10%. It even activates fat-burning enzymes, shrinking visceral fat, that stubborn belly bulgy, up to 2 inches in 12 weeks, according to nutrition and metabolism. I brew olive leaf tea daily, 1 tablespoon of dried leaves steeped at 175 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes. It's my morning ritual, like checking the telemetry on a rocket launch, but I don't stop there. I stack it with other leaves, moringa for its 9 grams of protein per ounce, keeping hunger at bay, sage for its anti-inflammatory rosmarinic acid, cutting brain fog, and holy basil to tame cortisol, the stress hormone that packs on pounds like a bad design flaw. Here's where it gets fun. I pair nature with tech to create a system that's tighter than a Neuralink algorithm. I use a continuous glucose monitor patch smaller than a quarter that tracks my blood sugar in real time, alerting me if I'm heading for a 160 mg DL spike. I've got a smartwatch that measures heart rate variability, targeting a score above 50 to ensure my nervous system's in sync. Sleep is my secret sauce, 7.5 hours a night, with 25% in REM, tracked by a ring that buzzes if I'm slacking. I even use an AI-powered app that analyzes my diet and vitals, suggesting tweaks like adding rosemary to my steak for a 10% boost in blood flow per the Journal of Physiology. This isn't about guessing, it's about building a feedback loop where every leaf, every meal, every hour of sleep is a data point in your optimization engine. But this isn't just about me. It's about you, your dreams, your missions, your shot at the impossible. When I was grinding through SpaceX's early days, I ignored my body's warning signs and nearly burned out. Now, I treat my biology like a startup. Iterate fast, measure everything, fail forward. You can do the same. Start small, brew a cup of olive leaf tea, toss moringa in your smoothie, track your glucose with a $100 monitor. These aren't random acts, they're calculated moves. A 2022 study in diabetes technology and therapeutics found that continuous glucose monitoring cut average blood sugar by 20 mg/dL in 3 months. That's not a pill, it's a system. And systems are what I do best. What's the end game? Freedom. Freedom to think without fog, to create without crashing, to live without limits. The world needs you at your best, whether you're building a company, raising a family, or just chasing a crazy idea that keeps you up at night. The average American spends 8 hours a day on screens, but only 6 hours sleeping. We're eating 150 pounds of sugar a year and wondering why we're tired. It's time to rewrite the code. Leaves like olive and sage are your open source toolsheet, accessible, backed by science. Tech like wearables and AI is your compiler, turning raw data into actionable insights. Together, they're a blueprint for a body that doesn't just survive, but dominates. This is my challenge to you. Hack your biology like it's your next big project. Experiment with a cup of peppermint tea to cut post-meal glucose spikes. Track your sleep like it's a mission-critical metric. Measure your progress like you're launching a rocket. Every small change compounds. 1% better today means 37% better in a year. That's not math, that's exponential growth. When I started this, I wasn't just fighting cholesterol or belly fat. I was fighting for the clarity to dream up Neuralink, the energy to push Tesla, the audacity to aim for Mars. You have your own Mars, your own impossible goal. A healthy body isn't the end, it's the beginning. It's the fuel for your mission, the spark for your vision. So go out there, brew that tea, sync that wearable, and build a body that's ready to conquer the future. Because if we can dream of stars, we can damn well build the biology to reach them.